All right, we are back and ready to jump into our big game of the morning. It is going to be Winter versus DesRow, a PVZ on King Sejong Station. Galgation, are you excited?
I am so excited. These two players are the last two left in the winner's bracket. The loser will have to go to the loser's bracket and battle their way back up to have a chance at number one. The other one will just be able to sit back and realize that in the final, no matter who they go up against, it's an uphill battle because they would have to lose 2 matches in a row in order to lose the top title.
Yep, and both players are ready, so we're ready to kick this game off. Both players are Master League. I heard yesterday that Winter is #1 Master, kind of bordering on Grandmaster, but we will see how this pans out in 3 seconds as we go into the loading screen, which will take another several seconds.
That's right. And DesRow's got the StarCraft's Marine as the profile picture.
Since he's Protoss.
Yep.
Yeah, we saw a very strong performance from DesRow yesterday against Yoshi, so I am curious to see the builds he will have here against Winter. But in the lower right-hand corner of King Sejong Station, against all odds, making it to the end of the winner's bracket. It's not true. It is DesRow.
And in the top left-hand corner, one of the crowd favorites. Is he going to be able to dethrone DesRow? It is Winter.
Technically, it's the other way around. Winter is the standing champion, so will DesRow dethrone Winter in this first best of 5 of the weekend, going into the semifinals of the winner's bracket? The rest of the games from here on out will be best of 5. So you got a little bit of wiggle room in some of the builds you can do if you want to do something crazy. You know, you certainly have that option. It's like DesRow, the first of the day to build his pylon on the outside of his base as a Protoss. So looking like it's going to be an early expand coming out here and going ahead to scout across the map. You know, DesRow saying he has some funny builds up his sleeve, so I'm excited to see exactly what type of funniness it might be. I'm guessing it's funny herdy, not funny haha.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it could be funny haha as well if it's effective. So DesRow is in the base of Winter, looking to see if there's that pool. Doesn't see anything. Going to see if it goes down there. It goes following that drone. So that's going to be pool before hatch.
Yeah, Winter is going ahead with the no scout here. He has not sent anything out to scout besides his Overlord. So the first Overlord trundling its way across the map will eventually reach the natural expansion here of DesRow. Looks like this is going to be a Nexus first as he's approaching 400 minerals here at 16 supply, which is the exact correct time to do this. That feel when you realize now you don't have sound. Oh, sad face. So DesRow is going to go ahead and take a pause here to adjust his sound, which is always a good thing. You definitely don't want to not have sound. Those adjuvant and whatnot, forget his name, the guy that says, "Not enough minerals." He's popping his head out of the Nexus as we see in the StarCraft comics.
Yeah, he does need to have those those announcements as it's helpful to know when you're being attacked or when things are a little bit under siege.
Yeah, after the day of casting last night, we went up to our hotel room and pulled up the latest StarCraft. I don't know if anyone's seen it. The what's it called? The Carrier Career.
Yeah,
it's got to be one of the best ones that I've ever seen.
It's really funny for sure. All right, looks like they got that figured out, and we are back in the game.
So DesRow now has some functioning sounds. He will be able to hear what's going on. That Nexus first there, followed by a Forge. So, you know, I was saying earlier that I was kind of missing that sort of early Stargate, sort of Phoenix, like 5 Phoenix into Robo type of build, and it looks like that is sort of what's shaping up here. He could end up going up something else, but that's exactly how this build started back in the day. Winter now has a expansion down at his natural. Looks like he does still have his pool. It hasn't gone away. He does not have any gas, though, so not going to be going for any upgrades. Possibly a pool just for some defensive / scouting roaches here while he continues to expand. DesRow continuing to check out his natural expansion, not really poking in there, just kind of keeping an eye on the ramp to see timing of when the Lings are going to come out, which he is going to see now, and immediately pull his pro back so he does not lose it.
Winter did send that Overlord right over the natural expansion. Checking out the front wall, see what's there. He did see that it was Forge first, and now that the gateway is going, so Winter poking that Overlord kind of around the right side of that main base, wants to check out the gases and all that good stuff as well.
I'm excited to see these builds here of DesRow. He's a very calculated player in his builds. His building placement specifically is absolutely something to be in awe of. Yesterday we saw in a couple games against Yoshi, just his building placement helped him out so dramatically in certain situations that it just really turned the tide of the game. So, obviously in a wall like this, building placement very important, as Winter's going to have these lings here and possibly the eventual roaches come up. And, just if you have one building a hex off or something like that, it's really easy to not get the advantage in the being at the high ground there to be able to defense it. So we'll see how that works. But Winter is going to be kind of doing the same thing that DesRow's probe did in on patrol outside the ramp here of DesRow to see what comes out. He also has a ling here on the right side of his third base on patrol as well.
Yep, that's right. He just playing carefully. He wants to know anything that happens that DesRow is going to be doing, and just keep a good idea on his opponent. He wants to know exactly what's going on and kind of maintain control. So he currently does have a lot of map control.
DesRow does have that Stargate in production, so this is really shaping up to see the build that I've wanted to see all weekend. But we'll see. There's a lot of different options you can do out of that now with the oracles, and people seem to be choosing that pretty frequently these days. We saw it was pretty effective in that game there with Spider Slayer and Dancer. Got quite a few probe kills, but that's certainly not my favorite, as the queens of Zerg can defend those oracles fairly well. DesRow going to be poking in with a probe here at the third base of Winter, and is going to be shunned away by the Zerglings and the queen. And that Zergling, with just the ever so slightly faster move speed of that probe, will eventually chase it down if it has time. It looks like there's enough space on the map that probe will be able to make it back.
Yeah, he'll be fine. That Zergling's been chasing that probe since he left home, so he's been running for his life the whole time. But there will be a Zealot there to shoo the Zergling away, and the Zergling is aware of that, so he's just going to hang out at the bottom of the ramp.
So the Robo is on the way. It's right here on the front ramp, so if Winter does happen to poke his way up here, he will be able to see it. 2 Phoenix on the field as well as a third, and so this is going to be pretty much what I expect. It's going to be 4 to 5 Phoenix, then moving into Robotics Facility, Production, and Colossus.
And he's just cleaning up these overlords right now. There are no spore crawlers in production or anything like that to try and dissuade the Phoenix from getting into the mineral lines at this point.
I mean, really,
First
obviously,
one now going down at the third.
The point of this build is to sort of clear the field. Zerg like to spread around those overlords around the map for the vision and the spotting. Really kind of clears the way to move around the map a bit more. DesRow has found the patrolling the Zergling at his ramp, so if he can clear that out, he will be able to really clear a lot of way. There is another overlord over the third to be able to see when that goes down. The Phoenix are beelined for it, though, so that overlord will not be around all that much longer. Winter obviously prepared for this, as he does have quite a he's prepared in having extra supply, so losing those overlords is not going to supply block him. Getting his lings around. Speed is started. It is about a third of the way done. Roaches as well on the way.
And Winter's really been kind of looking around, trying to see if there were any pylons near his area, trying to prevent the probes from getting out to set up those pylons. He doesn't want to get caught off guard by anything like that.
Oh, but he is going to see this warp prism with these Zerglings. He's not sure if there's anything in it, but he certainly is going to see that. DesRow was focused the other day on harassing his opponents, and looks like it is going to be the same thing, picking up this queen. Going to be able to easily take that out with these 5 Phoenix. And now he's still in Phoenix production, though he does have his third down. And going to be making a 6th Phoenix here, picking up more and more queens as Winter is trying to adjust here to be able to account for that. Spore Crawler is going to be burrowing right underneath the Phoenix, but the Zerglings at the third base of DesRow are going to be able to take that out. Hopefully he will get the cancel. They'll dramatically wait. Yep. So
Did get the cancel. So lings are going back now. There are zealots dropped in the main base as well. The lings are there to try and deal with those, along with some roaches. But the warp prism is continuing to warp in zealots, so now there's Phoenix and zealots in here, and Winter is bringing back just about as much as he can to deal with this. Lings and roaches are going crazy on these zealots, while the Phoenix are kind of just lifting up roaches as they're able.
Yeah, that is a lot of zealots there, and those roaches did come back to be able to help out there. But the Phoenix, I mean, the Phoenix can do quite a bit of damage to these roaches too, just one at a time. And every roach they kill is one less that will be heading across the map here, as they certainly do stream out.
They do indeed. So Phoenix continuing to move on, going to try and pick off this queen, pick off both of them. That Phoenix is really close to those crawlers, does end up getting picked off. run out of energy, so he's having a little bit of a hard time picking off these queens, taking out that Overlord, really trying to supply block his opponent. Not able to kill that second queen, though.
Oh, he will get it. He's very determined at this point.
Yeah, he really wants.
Winter poking away at the back rocks here of DesRow, but he is prepared. He has 3 sentries, which will be able to segregate that off. And not really trap the roaches, but just kind of keep them out at this point. He does have a nice Immortal there, so he'll be able to pick off those roaches quite easily. Lots and lots of sentries, really able to control that ramp.
And he's going to need a lot of help, though, because there's more lings and roaches coming their way, and those sentries are going to be spending their energy quite quickly and now starting to fall, so the force fields are going to be dropping in number. Second Immortal is on its way out, but not only about halfway done.
Phoenix did come back to be able to lift up some of those roaches to prevent their retreat, and meanwhile in the main base there's still Zealots warped in off of that Warp Prism, which have completely cleared out the main and are now working on taking down the hatch. Some Zerglings from Winter do come back to try and defense that, but more Zealots continuing to be warped in. DesRow just being really efficient with his units back in defending that attack by Winter. He's going to lose his 3rd base again, but that's really not important at this point in time, as he is basically staying even with Winter by taking out his main base.
Yeah, so they are on even bases. They have about the same number of workers, 48 drones to 50 probes, so they're still kind of pretty even despite the food differential there.
DesRow just really able to be in control here of these attacks with such a high number of sentries. And these Phoenix, oh man, these Phoenix are just worth their weight in gold right now, allowing him to be able to pick up several of these roaches, get the Immortals in front of them, and then when they drop, they just explode. But now DesRow is still, throughout this entire time, continuing to put pressure on now the natural expansion.
Trying to take out that Roach Warren, which would be a big pick there.
Winter is continued to have to pull back his forces to be able to deal with this, and this Warp Prism is just getting the work done here for DesRow. These roaches will eventually take out these Zealots, but he's just continuing to warp them in. The Phoenix coming in to be able to help out, be able to lift up half of these roaches. I mean, the utility of the Phoenix and being able to negate a large portion of the army in these engagements has just been huge so far in this game for DesRow. Now focusing down the Spore Crawler here with these Zealots, so the Phoenix will have a little bit more liberty.
That's right. Now they need to try and get in at that queen, and really limiting Winter's queens is a really phenomenal plan here too, because the fewer queens, the fewer larvae, and the fewer larvae, the less production. So trying to really take those out. Plus, he needs those queens, so he's got to keep making them, and that's costing him minerals.
Absolutely, and these Overlords here kind of hiding our view of what exactly is going on underneath them, but now Hydra's on the field, able to do the big damage from behind those roaches. And as soon as this battle here is complete, it's been going on for about 10 minutes, we can take a look at the units lost here to see what is what. And it looks like we've lost 80 Zerglings and 4. Oh, wow, Winter has lost only 4 drones.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good defense there, and really moving them in light of all of the Zealots and things like that. So the Hydras are on the field. They were able to take out that Warp Prism, and now the Phoenix have been shooed away as well. And Winter's just going on the offensive.
Yeah, and DesRow does now have his 3rd base established, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of defense here for it. He does have a Colossus and another army here. If it gets in good position here, he could be able to force field off this ramp. And Winter just goes ahead and sees that and decides to turn around. Winter here really needs to buckle down and get himself reestablished, as DesRow has certainly taken control of this game at this point, moving across the field to be aggressive. And Winter sees that, so he's going to have to set up some kind of defense back at home.
There is a Spire in production. He did see that there is a Colossus on the field, so he's trying to get some air attack as well.
Now DesRow getting set up here as Winter repositions his Spine Crawlers to be able to split up the army a little bit. He does have a decent number of Roaches and Hydras, but the supply definitely in DesRow's favor, 143 to 199 here of Winter. And also Winter throughout this entire time has been relegated to 2 bases. Although he did not lose many drones, he did lose a lot of mining capacity.
So in go the Colossi here, and they are trying to do as much damage as they can. Force field's going down to try and segregate out these Roaches and Hydras. Spine Crawlers trying to do the work. Spore Crawlers doing the work as well, so that is going to back up a little bit. Now, in this engagement, DesRow also has a +2 Protoss ground upgrade to the 1/1 of the Zerg units as well, and there is a +3 in production at that forge, so he's got an upgrade advantage as well.
Also, there are all of the Phoenix still on the field. We saw just a moment ago on the left side of the map. DesRow really not using those at the moment, but keeping them around to maybe clear out some overloads later. But right now, DesRow just kind of able to walk in with pretty much complete freedom, as Winter does not have the units to hold us off. Blink about to finish up here as well. So once that does, that will give him some big mobility to split off some of these Stalkers to do more damage. But here, he does still have a ton of energy left on these sentries, and even more sentries being warped in. So he can just really control the battlefield here with those force fields and keep it out of those Colossus. Getting a bit aggressive, though, at the front of the army.
Yeah, but he did bring in some hallucinated air units to try and pull some of the damage away from those Corruptors that were targeting the Colossi, and those Colossi do stand. DesRow continues to push in on this third and does get the GG.
GG from Winter.
So game 1 goes to DesRow, putting him a little bit closer.
And Winter did say that he was expecting to win in 3 games, so it is going to go at least 4 at this point.
At least 4, yep.
Yeah, so maybe he was just toying around with DesRow that time. But, I mean, honestly, in all seriousness, DesRow came out with a really good build, and he kept the pressure on from minute 3 of the game all the way to the end. And those Zealots and Warp Prism in the main base just really did the work for him.
Yeah, they really did. And, I mean, Winter was trying to put the aggression back on DesRow, but the constant aggression and the Phoenix really pinning him back in his base, he was having a really hard time getting anywhere. And, like you said, the Warp Prism was just doing a fantastic job keeping units in Winter's base.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a very short break here as we get the next lobby set up. It looks like it is in the process of being created, so we'll be no more than a minute or so. And we'll be right back with game number 2 of Winter versus DesRow.